You listen to DBS for unbiased coverage of breaking news, original programs, and so much music. You listen for the information that will change your lives and the humor to brighten your days. So here at DBS Radio, we deliver. We deliver timely news, information to live by, and the everyday interaction that we all so need. These are the things that make DBS Radio the better sounding radio in Dominica. Keep on listening.
Join me, Julie Roberts, on Bio Out Loud every Monday, 7 to 8 p.m. on DBS Radio. This is where we speak with great and regular Dominicans who will speak about their experiences, failures, and achievements. From doctors to politicians, to sanitary engineers, to the average man on the streets. Your story is a part of the Dominican story. And don't forget, within the Dominican story, we all have a Maria story. Life experiences contributing to the Dominica story with Julie Roberts on Bio Out Loud, YT Kubuli Mondays, 7 to 8 p.m. on DBS Radio. Hi, good evening. I hope everyone is doing well. I am Julie Roberts for this episode of Bio Out Loud. It's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful Wednesday. Monday night. Oh, look at that. I've jumped to Wednesday. Father, what's going on for me tonight? I've jumped to Wednesday already. It's a beautiful Monday night in Roseau, Dominica. And, I've heard a woman or a lady should never look like her circumstance. I do look like my circumstance this evening. But despite that, I am happy to be here. Today, I had a beautiful, beautiful day in the Petite Soufrière constituency, or Petite Soufrière community, I should say. We went out to give some Christmas gifts to the children who were affected by the drought in that area. And it was such a beautiful experience. It's an early Christmas, but if you know me, you know I love December. I'm a December born, and you know how we December borns act like we sat down with Jesus in class. We just really, really overdo it all month long. So part of the life of a December born is that I think we love to give. So soon Christmas comes about, it's our time, and yeah. So I just want to pause tonight to thank those who came on board and were sponsors, for the events that we did today. So let's pause and do that. I first and foremost want to thank the Joseph Foundation. The Joseph Foundation president is Danny Joseph. He was on the show a few months ago. Danny and Jean Joseph, I really want to thank you so much. Also, we had Digicel. I don't remember if it's the Bigger, Better network or if they moved on from that now, but Digicel, definitely a platinum sponsor for today. And it was fantastic of you, the help out that you did, the ways in which you collaborated, made the effort so much greater. Down in Portsmouth, I want to thank Rudolph Thomas Hardware. Thank you so much. Tomorrow we'll be in Portsmouth. I'll speak about that a little later, but I want to thank you in advance for your sponsorship for this initiative. I also want to thank Roberton the Brand, Mr. Shadrach Burton, for what he has been doing. Also, the way in which he contributed. I want to thank Mr. Julian Hamilton himself for, at the drop of the ball, just saying, Double O, we needed to build this, and he's there at the drop of the hat. He's always there to help. Thank you. Power, DJ Power. It's carnival time, and, it's the festive time. And if you do need a system, we have Power, Mr. Tulip himself. I want to thank you for your contributions. Very often in life, we forget to say thank you to those who help us get to where we're going. And last but not least, my foundation, the Julie Roberts Foundation. And what we decided to do this year is give some gifts to just some children. It's not the amount that maybe you would see the parliamentary representatives given, but we just wanted to see how we can make some children smile. So today we started in the Petite Soufriere community, and we had children smiling from ear to ear, and that in itself felt like it was worth it. Even though it took a long, long time to get there, I was happy to see the reaction. Tomorrow, God's willing, we'll be in Portsmouth and at the Borough Square. We're going to light up a little tree and give a few gifts to some children. We have a few of them listed for tomorrow. So let's just all get in the spirit of merriment and see how we can give back this Christmas season. This evening, we have a special guest with us, and until he gets into studios, you will just have me. But we have Mr. ColtonT, and he will be our guest on Bio Out Loud tonight. I know very often when you hear biography, you think it's going to be an older person, but tonight we have a young man who has been given and representing Dominica in the capacity of music, and we're going to explore his life story tonight more so than just his music. But before we continue, Mr. Fado, do you have the new song that he has released? We're going to listen to that for a little bit until we have him join us in studios. So we'll be right back with more Bio Out Loud. I'm your host, Julie Roberts.
After the rain is shine, after every dark time I will be fine. I know I won't recline. Not in no rush, everything in time. I fully trust the designer, and him say victory is mine. I'll find a way, yeah. With or without help I'll see some better days. I'll find a way. Life is about finding way, yes. I'll find a way. Wanna live life fully, before you're not angry. I'll find a way. Life is about finding way. All I do is give thanks, yeah. But if you come with a bad vibe, then your best move, keep your distance. Up feels harder to go, but I'm still going. Down feels harder to roll. Give thanks to the Father, thankful for the Son. Give thanks for the showers, blessings coming down. With or without help, I'll see some better days. I'll find a way, because life is about finding way, yes. I'll find a way. Wanna live life fully, before you're not angry. I'll find a way, yes, I'll find a way, yeah. After the rain is shine, after every dark time I will be fine. I know I won't recline. Not in no rush, I'll be day in time. I fully trust the designer, and him say victory is mine. I fully trust the designer, and him say victory is mine. Give thanks to the Father, thankful for the Son. Give thanks for the showers, blessings coming down. Oh yeah, I'll find a way, yeah. With or without help I'll see some better days. I'll find a way. Life is about finding way, yes. I'll find a way. Wanna live life fully, before you're not angry. I'll find a way. Life is about finding way. Give thanks to the Father, thankful for the Son. Give thanks for the showers, blessings coming down. Without help, I'll see some better days. I'll find a way. Life is about finding way, yes. I'll find a way. Wanna live life fully, before you're not angry. I'll find a way. Life is about finding way. I'll find a way. With or without help, I'll see some better days. I'll find a way. Because life is about finding way, yes. I'll find a way. Wanna live life fully, before you're not angry. I'll find a way. find a way, yeah.
This is your nation station, DBS Radio.
After the rain is shine, after every dark time I will be fine. I know I won't recline. Not in no rush, everything in time. I fully trust the designer, and him say victory is mine. I'll find a way, yeah. With or without help, I'll see some better days. I'll find a way. Life is about finding way, yes. I'll find a way. Wanna live life fully, before I'm a tan gray. I'll find a way. Life is about finding way. All I do is give thanks, yeah. But if you come with a bad vibe, then you best move, keep your distance. Up feels harder to go, but I'm still going. Down feels harder to roll. Give thanks to the Father. Thankful for the sun. Give thanks for the showers. Blessings coming down. With or without help, I'll see some better days. I'll find a way, because life is about finding way, yes. I'll find a way. Wanna live life fully, before you're a tan gray. I'll find a way, yes, I'll find a way, yeah. After the rain is shine, after every dark time I will be fine. I know I won't recline. Not in no rush, everything in time. I fully trust the designer, and him say victory is mine. I fully trust the designer, and him say victory is mine. Give thanks to the Father. Thankful for the sun. Give thanks for the showers. Blessings coming down. Oh yeah. I'll find a way, yeah. With or without help, I'll see some better days. I'll find a way. Life is about finding way, yes. I'll find a way. Wanna live life fully, before I'm a tan gray. I'll find a way. Life is about finding way.
Find a way. I'll find a way. I'll find a way. And the new ColtonT track, did it come out last week Friday?
Was it last week Friday? I can't really recall the exact day, but yeah, some time ago there.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Fresh.
it's fresh. Yeah, that's the bottom line. It's fresh. Okay, there you have it, guys. We have ColtonT in studios here with us tonight, and we are going to find out a little bit more about him. So all his fans and his supporters, come right over on our live, or if you're listening in Radio Land, we appreciate you also. But if you want to see him, he's in studios now. Welcome to Buy Out Loud.
Thank you.
How are you this evening?
I'm good. In good spirits as always. How about you?
I'm really good. I was just talking earlier about today what we did. We went to give Christmas gifts in the affected area, Petit Souffriere.
Mm-hmm.
I hope I'm not saying it incorrectly. And, that in itself just gave me a hype, to see people so appreciative, or even to pass by and see where people or someone lost their lives, their life. So I'm just in that mood today to be thankful. So
always.
that thankful.
And
mood.
I mean, that's what Find a Way actually, talks about. It's about being thankful no matter, what the situation is. Yeah.
Yes. Mr. Technician, we have a humming. So I have a show where the questions are very often generic, but the answers are diverse because, of course, everyone's story is different. So we'll start with our basic question, which is, what is your earliest memory? Especially coming from the man, Mr. Memory himself. What's your earliest memory?
My earliest memory. In terms of
your life memory, the earliest thing you can remember.
I mean, to mind, nothing comes to mind right now.
What? That you're the first that nothing comes to mind?
Yeah, I mean, nothing really comes to mind in terms of my earliest memory.
So you just started being like at no age, like were you like 6 years old when you realized I'm Colton? Like
Mm, okay, I have a memory. That was probably in, I'm not sure, like probably one of them grades. I don't know, grade 4, maybe grade 3. Okay, so I gonna share two. Um, there's one I hated to see myself. I thought I was very ugly. I always mentioned to my mother that, yo, like, I don't know what people see, but I feel ugly. And then I remember telling her that I want to quit school. I want to drop out of school. I kind of probably felt a little like school wasn't for me. I wanted to pay bills instead. So that's one. And she's like, she don't want me to worry about bills and she don't want me to worry about those things. But I was in like, like primary school. And I mean, I'm paying bills now and I feel like I should have stayed a
go
kid,
back
you
to
know what I
primary
mean?
school.
Yeah. And then I have another memory from grade 3. There was this girl who had a crush on me and she invited me to her birthday party. And well, I wasn't coming, but she knew I like fruitcake, so she told me a birthday cake, it's gonna be fruitcake. I still didn't come, however, but yeah. Yeah, that's the two memories I can.
All right, heartbreaker. We'll get
Hey.
there. Okay, so who are your parents and where are they from?
My father is from the area of Pottersville, and he's a contractor. My mother, she was a babysitter. She passed away like about 3 years ago. Yeah.
Okay, and she was from Pottersville also.
My mother was more so from Goodwill area. My mother's side of the family kind of descended from Montstrat. Yeah.
So you might have a little bit of the Antiguan in you somewhere there.
Antiguan?
Yes, a lot of Montstratian have an Antiguan background.
Uh-huh.
Uh-huh.
I don't know. Mine seem to come straight from Montstrat. My father's mother was also from Montstrat too.
And both parents were Dominican.
On my father's side?
Yeah.
No. One was from Montstrat, one was from Dominica.
Okay.
And on my mother's side, from Montstrat.
Okay. How many siblings do you have, or do you have any siblings?
By my father, I'm an only child by my mother, and my father has about 4. Yeah, thereabout.
Okay.
If you have any others in the pipeline somewhere.
Let's not put the man business out the door.
Well, I mean, my father's a Gallus,
Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay, so he put in the man business out the door.
Yeah, we had to talk, so we talking.
Yes, we're talking.
Yeah, man.
Okay, so where's your hometown? Is it Goodwill, or you said your mom was from Goodwill and the other one was from Pottersville? So where you from?
Myself, Goodwill. I did some time in Pottersville, so I'm in Kittenville now. So. Yeah, from Goodwill, I went to Pottersville, and from Pottersville, I'm currently in Kinfield.
Okay.
Who knows, I'll probably be in Zion somewhere soon.
I thought we were going to say Portsmouth. But, okay, this is a question I ask to most guests, like, what was your childhood like in terms of financial? But just the other day, I'm still new to Dominica and how people see certain villages. But just the other day, somebody was telling me that Goodwill is the one just after the bridge there. It is seen as a rough neighborhood, or it used to be seen as a rough neighborhood.
No, not really. Not really. Goodwill is kind of like, upper scale, middle class. Like, you have Goodwill, you have Center Roma, and then you have the certain areas that it's not really Goodwill, but it's like sectioned out. And, well, it used to be considered ghetto, but all of these places are developed and, to me, no longer ghetto.
So what was it like when you were growing up there?
I wouldn't know how to really describe it, to be honest. I can try. A Goodwill always seemed like a peaceful place. I felt like the guys in our community were kind of segregated though, for whatever reason it was. Like, like we never had that kind of togetherness. It's like everybody for themselves, everybody on their own kind of vibe, their own scene, so to speak. Um, Growing up, I didn't really do too much of the outside vibe because it's like um, my cousins and so on before me, they rather grew up on the rough side, They grew up on the unruly side, and my mother and my auntie decided that, myself and my cousin wasn't gonna take that approach, and be little unruly kids.
So you're a church boy.
So they were pretty much very strict. I mean, yeah, I mean, I went to church as a kid. My auntie, Verna Graham, I'll put her on the spot, always ensured that, myself and my cousin, was deeply involved in church, even though most times I was in church, I used to be sleeping. But yeah, she made sure that we were there. She made sure we did the dues, the first communions, the confirmations, and, just giving us, like, that briefing on what church is, who God is, and who God is to them, and yeah. So pretty much like, I had a strong church influence in, a religious influence in my family.
So basically a normal Dominican childhood.
Yeah, man. My mother, like I say, and my auntie, they were pretty but very strict, so they didn't want me to go to places. So when I have to go to places, it's business about escaping. You know what I mean? I used to roll with the biker boys in my community, so I love riding bikes and popping wheelies and doing those things, doing stunts. So, I used to escape every time and, go on the Bayfair and go riding, all about running coward. Yeah.
Running cowards.
Getting punished,
Yes.
you know what I mean? When man does see me for a week, they know the scene, Yeah, my mother take my bike, she take my things, and she just checking like, you're not going nowhere, my boy. If I keep you in, then I can't take what, making you go out.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you're thankful for those now. When you look back at it, how do you feel?
I mean,
about
to
it?
some extent, it's like I still feel like my mother and my auntie, they did their best in terms of raising me. But as to if I was to raise my child in the same manner, that would be no. Reasons being is like I felt like I grew up too sheltered, so to speak. So a lot of things that I should have learned earlier on in life, I ended up learning them late.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I've never heard it like that. Normally people are like, you know what, it was for my betterment.
Yeah, but I mean, I can't really say if I would do it different, because like I'm here today still. By the grace of whatever, I'm here today still. But as for me, if I was to raise my kid in the same manner, I would definitely say no. Based on who I've evolved into and become over the years, I have a solid, like thought process in terms of how I would raise my kid, and how I was raised up is not how I would do that.
Yeah, I feel that. I feel that that's definitely something that we've been pushing in this new age where, even like back in the day, the child will say, I don't like the oats forage, and you say, you have to eat all.
Lie down by it.
Yes, if you don't want to lie down by it.
You
And we tend to see it as, okay, that's just how it is. We still find people in our generation raising their children like that. But then I know a lot of people now that's saying, you know what, if I don't like oats, there's things I do not like. So I understand my child may not like it. Maybe my financial capacity doesn't allow me to give them what they like at all times. But there's still ways around it. So parenting is definitely evolving. I like the word you used earlier. It's definitely evolving. So I do understand. I get it, so. And it doesn't take love away from, like the love that you give your parents when you say that. It definitely doesn't take that.
No, because, and again, like, I mean, there were certain, stuff that they instill was great. Where I think that I would do things differently in terms of, is like what I teach my child and at what age. I like when I say sheltered, I just mean like, I was sheltered from knowing what certain basic things about life is, that I should have learned, like my parents should have taught me, instead of it being a secret or it being a topic not to touch.
That sound like birds and the bees.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
It should have been touched. Like my kid needs to know from an early age what this is, and no, not being hypocrite about
Yes.
it. Because growing up as children, sometimes we think like they're unaware of certain things that's going on, and they're very intelligent at that age, and they can pick up on a lot of things. And the things that they pick up on, which you don't speak about, is what actually shapes their future. Because if they're seeing you, in church praising hallelujah, and then at the end of the day when you're home, you're a different type of person. You can speak and say what you want, but they follow in your action. You know what I mean?
Yes. And very often the things that they pick it up on somebody else's belief, as opposed to the fact that you could have taught them that way. So I get you. And age appropriate teachings also is something that's important. But I guess we're not going to go all the way deep into that, because I like that kind of topic, but I get you.
Yeah, man.
What primary school did you attend?
I went to Goodwill Primary. Green and black Goodwill Primary.
Goodwill Primary. Oh, I know Goodwill Primary, I think.
Yeah, man.
Okay, and secondary school?
High school, I went to St. Mary's Academy.
Oh, yeah, one of those. I had
Yeah, man.
Kasani recently. That's SMA.
Yeah.
Yeah, I say
I was
like
head boy of SMA.
talking about all the great guys come from SMA. You know,
Uh-huh.
he's always all the great guys come
I
from
mean,
SMA.
Great people come from everywhere,
I mean, they just
Yeah, but everybody have to be a little extra proud of their school,
Their school.
their alma mater, you feel me? So I can understand, when one states that, But I feel like a lot of great people come from all walks of life,
So what was school like? What was SMA like? What were high school years like?
Well, I wanted to go to grammar school. Let me just put that out there. I always wanted to be amongst the girls, But my auntie was adamant that no, you're going to SMA. So there was like about 3 guys from my primary school who attended SMA. Hardest deceased, RIP, my boy. And then Joshua. So on entry, we didn't really know anybody. All our friends went to grammar school and Goodwill Secondary and all of the other schools. So it was just like 3 of us, in amongst, all them SMP boys, couple from convent prep and whatnot. So it was a quiet first form, very diligent. And then they did something like they transferred boys, or they switch around or swap boys based on like their education level or their capacity. So it's like you'd have this, and that happens like in first and second form, because in third form you kind of get divided to who does business, who does science. So I was that kind of guy in first form, where it's like quiet, diligent, doing my thing. I found a love and passion for French language, and I was just shifted to the class that, like, of the top tier students. Again, I didn't really know anybody in that class, so it was just a quiet it was just a quiet first form. Second form, I started to get a bit unruly, just a bit. Still, I mean, like, driven and doing my schoolwork and attentive, but a little bit, out there, because, at that point, talents starts to show. So it's like I was heavily involved in sports throughout my 5 years at SMA. I captained my football team for the 5 years I was there. And I played, if it's like under 13 and, under 15, I basically, So first form and second form was rather quiet. And then, we start to get real unruly in third form. Again, could be for multiple reasons. I had maybe what was going on at home. I don't know what was going through my mind at that time, but school wasn't it for me. I didn't feel that I needed to go to school. I didn't feel like I wanted to go to school. I was constantly in conflict with my teachers in third form, constantly. Yeah. And then fourth form, you know.
Do you have any advice for a young person who might be in that position presently? Because you just said maybe it's what's going on at home. You don't know what it is. It could just have been changes in you're an adolescent. You're going through puberty. Do you have any advice? Because very often we just say children are acting out, or that little child rude, that kind of thing. So what advice could you share?
I mean, one have to listen to themselves, at that point, and I feel sometimes you have to kind of get burnt a bit in order to learn. So it's like, for me to sit here and advise, like I don't really think like that's even wise of me. Some people just need to experience things in order to learn things. Like, I've spoken to young people before. I've spoken to people who I've been in relationships with. And, I always offer advice. But sometimes people just need to feel the burn. You know what I mean? So as if I would advise somebody that's young right now and say anything. Probably not, just go for life. They just have to experience their vibe and, shape their future using their surroundings like I did. And like everybody else, is doing. Yeah. But
you came back around because you said you end up being the head boy. So is that based on good behavior and academics?
I mean, being head boy in a school is a mixture of both. So it's academics. You have to be balanced in academics, and you also have to be popular. Yeah.
Okay.
So I was like I said, I was unruly in third form, fourth form, but academically inclined I always was, So I mean, I qualified to run for head boy, and then I edged my opponents basically because I was just more crafty.
Okay.
And popular, so I got all the votes.
We will take that. And okay, so everyone's story is different. After high school, what did you do next? It's your life story.
Yeah, so I mean, after high school, I went to college. I thought my calling was to be a veterinarian because of my passion for animals. I had given up on my football career like in about third form when I realized I'm doing this. Like I always was about money, from even a very young age.
Mm-hmm.
I was always about money. Like I tell you, even in primary school, like I wanted to make sure I could help mommy pay bills.
Mm-hmm.
And then third form, I think I was just kind of making money from football, and then I had a couple of experiences when I traveled to a couple countries, and what the coaches told us that, we would experience and scouts and different things, it wasn't there, you know what I mean? And, my disappointment at the time is just like, I'm not going back to that,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then, and I shout out my partner, Julian Wade, he hold on the fort and he there fighting with it, He was one of the guys playing, together with myself back in the time, believing in that dream, and to be a professional footballer, and that's what he is today,
Yeah.
a pro baller. For me, I decided to take on the path of music. It felt more interesting. I was more intrigued, with the whole reggae culture at the time. And music was my choice.
Did you do Star Search or any competition like that?
All right, so there was always Q Talent Search going on. I was discovering new talent on the island, but I never saw myself as a competitor. It's like I given a gift to share with people, and I never saw the need, So that's why some people say go in the Calypso arena. I will never be in the Calypso arena. Never. I'm not using my talent to be a competition and compete versus no one.
But you can do a calypso, but you would not compete.
But I would not
okay.
compete, no.
Okay.
So, I mean, Q Talent Search was there. And, I used to just come on as, entertainment after, in between segments.
Okay, so you're okay. I thought you were maybe a competitor, but
Yeah.
not. Okay, so you're now at State College and you wanted to be a vet. You changed your mind from being a pro footballer. So how did you change your mind from being a veterinarian also?
I mean, when I got to college, it's like I liked biology a lot. So in fifth form, I tried to escape physics and I tried to escape
Chemistry?
chemistry. I didn't like my chem teacher, and I'll shout him out now, Mr. Rupert Lance. I didn't like him, and I can, that was how I felt. So I didn't like chemistry because I didn't like my teacher at the time.
At the
You know,
time,
big
I'm
up
hoping. I'm
Mr.
happy you said that. At
Big
the
up
time,
Mr. Lance one time. And I sure, if I have any SMA guys, that any guys who did sciences, you know what I mean? They shared the same sentiments, you know what I mean? We didn't like Mr. Lance. So, I mean, now that we grown up now, I mean, big up Mr. Lance. Way back in high school, Mr. Lance was Grinch, Yeah.
was Grinch.
Yeah, man. And then physics was again math. I wasn't really too fond of math, then. So it's like biology, that was my vibe because I thought it was all about bio, learning the human body, etc., plants and messing with the whole nine. And then I got to college, under Edgar Hunter, and I realized like biology is like too much chemistry. I don't like bio. I don't like my bio teacher because I feel like he's a chemistry teacher. And yeah, so then I was like, like the music thing working out, it's that's my interest, that's my vibe. So instead of going to class, I started to loiter around school, and just be a bum for a while. It's just like exploring myself, in a position where it's like, my mother doesn't really know what I'm up to, whatever. And yeah, I just loiter in and not going to class. And then at some point, I think I told her like, yo, like, mommy, I don't want to waste your money, I'm not going back to school and she's checking well, not on the roof, I have to go by some garage and wash bus or something like that. Like, but I'm not going to sit down at home. And then, honestly, I tried to go, but my spirit couldn't take me. And then eventually, like, I stopped. I never completed. I stopped, I start back, and then that's it.
So we know today you are the ColtonT. So at what point after that episode did you get into music, or were you already into music?
Yeah, so I mean, I was into music. Like I probably recorded my first trial at like in fourth form or so. But it was a secret up until fifth form. And then the guy started to find out that hey, like, I doing a little recording thing on computer mic, my boys and them in the community. But I never really wanted them to know I could sing or I was trying to sing. Like it was an embarrassing thing, to be honest.
But why?
I mean, back then we wanted to be gangster, we wanted to be G, to sing as a girl thing. Even in church, like I would never, my auntie begged me to join the church choir and I would never join the church choir because that's a girl thing. Man is gangster, man, feeling like we's G, young. Then, we're all up in our head.
Yes.
And we're feeling like singing is girl thing, but.
So your first recording, was that a song you wrote? And
it was a chorus, actually. It was just a chorus. It was a chorus I sang on a song, yeah, my friends were doing. And I just sang the hook. Yeah, and then it started to go out. Like, I mean, I don't think we had to pass them things on, like, via phone at that time. It was
floppy
email.
disk.
No, it wasn't even not even the disc. It was because the disc and them we used to use at school, but it was like the young people thing is like email,
Yes,
MSN,
yeah,
like,
yeah.
that, you know what I mean? So it's like it started to make some rounds there, and yeah.
Okay, so you had that little hook. How did you start out though? After that hook, where did you go from there?
So after that hook, I probably tried a couple of things, but then there's this girl, who was visiting home from abroad, and me being shy, me is like, If I like somebody, I wouldn't tell them.
I don't see you're shy, but okay.
I'm a shy person.
Uh-huh. Okay. Uh-huh.
ColtonT is very, an out there guy, but Colton Thomas, me, is very shy. So, like I was saying, if I like somebody, I would never tell them I like them, and I would never make a break or none of that. So, I mean, I like this girl a lot, and I decided to make a small EP. So she motivated me to make I wanted to tell her how much that I liked her, and I made a small EP. I didn't even know it was an EP at the time or whatever. But I went home and I asked my cousin, like, yo, like, can you help me like pen some lyrics, like help me? And then I recorded it and I put it on a CD, and I wait until the day she was about to leave. The whole time she was there, I never tell her nothing. I wait until the day she was about to leave, and then I gave her that CD. Yeah, and then it's like me and her started talking.
So she was impressed.
I mean, yeah, man.
Okay, I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And from there, I think I started using her as my muse to create more and more music, and I started, that's when I didn't really know it yet, but I started singing about true emotion and how I truly felt and like my life, and I started putting it into music. But then after that, like, I was listening to more Vibes Cartel and the whole Jamaica scene. So it's like my lyrical content kind of straight from speaking about what I feel and what I go through on a daily, versus singing about what I see constantly around me. So it's like my lyrical content kind of changed. The music became more aggressive because like I was living in Dominica, but like my mindset was where the music scene was in Jamaica at the time, and it's violence out there. So the music was violent, the music was gangster, that's what I was bringing out. I was raw, I was, yeah. So that was the young days, up until the point where I found Ice Cream Man in 2011. So in 2011, I got a call, because I was doing the music thing while on Care Team, I was on every stage, and very unruly, very, like I would cuss on stage. I would get very aggressive on stage, express myself, be very vocal. I mean, as a young, raw, the talent was raw.
And that's where your inspiration was, people that you're following doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was really doing a lot of what I saw. And then, Ice Cream Man, I got a call from Flo, Creole in the Park. I think, like, yeah, they called me to play for my first time. 30 minutes, was it, or 15 minutes, I can't recall. That was the first time I ever got paid for music. That was in 2011.
So all the time you were on stage doing the most, you were not being paid?
No, man. Like, I mean, I was just making myself. So it's like, I really came out on the scene. It was like 09. I didn't really perform until like 010, but it was like, thankful to Q95 and JL Joseph at the time that was pushing me on every event. So it wasn't a thing like I was able to attract fans. I was just doing my thing. So, 09, 08, all these were like just experience years. So in 2011, I received my first paycheck.
Okay, so you're now in the Creole in the Park. You're on that stage.
Yeah.
Yeah, what was that like?
I mean, it was an exciting moment because, my family, especially like my mother and my father, it's like they felt some type of way then, because it's like they felt like, well, their son doing a little something, from being disappointed from my school dropouts or my, constantly being in little trouble here and there in high school, to now kind of feeling a little proud that I'm on stage, Creole in the Park put me on the Monday, and I don't know, I was always like just very creative, very, out there about my vibe and out there about my style The same chick I told you that I wrote the stuff for, you know, she made sure that she, you know, shopped for all my clothing and whatever she could do at the time as she could do it. I mean, two of us are young. And, you know, she sent my clothes for me. She, you know, she spray paint some Ice Cream Man t-shirt, which I have today.
Wow.
And, you know, she did the most. You know, she got some shoes for me and inscribed my name on them. And here was I, boy.
You're bought for boss.
Yeah, man, me and my brother and couple of the kids from my neighborhood. We on there, and it's like I went to Crazy T, and I told him like, yo, like I don't have money to print shits, you know, and I want shits, you know. And at that time I was he had funded my first mixtape Ascendance in like 2010, and you know he had printed couple like CDs for me and stuff like that. He at first that he tell me not interested in doing them thing, you know, and then it's like, anyways, he had some persuasion from somebody, no name, no warrant, and you know he decided to help me out, and then we built a relationship, and you know I was like, you know, I don't have the money to do the shits, but if my fans can come to your business place and at least get the shits half off, like I'd be appreciative of that, you know. And like from my inception of when he decided to work with me, I mean, he always supported me in whatever way he could, however he could, you know what I mean? So it's like my fans were going to Crazy T, Kyrie FM, and, you know, printing their shits, getting it for, if it's half off, they just have to bring their shit and they would get their print for half off, you know? So, you know, I printed shirts, I bought a cooler of ice cream and a bunch of stuff, and here was I, myself, my brother, and, you know, my clan from home on stage, and you know we sending ice creams in the crowd and just like really having a great time at Krill in the Park, you know what I mean? Money didn't matter, it was just fun, joy. I don't want to leave out Median, you know. DJ Median was the DJ pushing my vibe back then. He and a guy they call him Flubber, who's deceased, RIP Flubber, you know. So Median was pushing my vibe hot then, you know what I mean? And he was on stage with me, or he shared the stage with me the first time I performed on that big stage. Yeah.
Okay, I don't want us to run out of time, but so
yeah, because if we see we have to talk
about
telling you.
No, I mean, when you search, even if you just search ColtonT, Ice Cream Man is that thing that actually a lot of the write up about, you know, everybody talk about Ice Cream Man. So
I think Ice Cream Man like was one of the biggest songs, you know, coming out from Dominica at the time. You know, I mean, I didn't know, it was just organically crazy around the kids and amongst the kids. I didn't receive the necessary support that I needed to at the time. You know, it's like I kind of felt a way about that, because it's like for you to have one of the biggest songs on island and promoters putting you to open an event because they don't have confidence in you, you know, like for me that was BS back then, you know. So it's like I don't want to say anything about anybody who was a promoter back then, but me having the biggest song in Dominica should have been placed at prime time. When you place me at a position like that's very early, you know, the people who matter, it's like, yeah, I would have the kids run in, but the kids are not the ones spending the money. You know, it's like I needed to be placed in front of, like, you know, a bigger audience to basically like, yeah, do my do. At the time I had the biggest song.
Okay, so now you have Ice Cream Man and things going. Did you make that conscious decision to choose to do reggae and dance, all that kind of?
There's this guy called Shane at the time, Pampas PZ, so I started patterning off him before I started listening to all like barrage of Vibes Cartel and the likes. And then so it's like I thought to myself, like, well, he was the only one in the crew doing kind of like reggae-ish, dancehall-ish, and had a vibe that I liked at the time. And then I felt it it was more appealing to do reggae in the Caribbean versus doing the R&B hip hop.
Mm-hmm.
You know, in terms of like what I started with. I felt like I could have made more of an impact, you know, because I grew up on Bob Marley and all them reggae, you know, Barry Salmon and all that.
We all did. We all
You
did.
know what I mean? So it's like I felt to myself like I could have do the same thing and have couple hits like them too. It wasn't so detailed then. It was just like more appealing to me at the
Yeah,
time.
more appealing.
You know, I didn't really want to do the booyah thing too much. I didn't want to. And yeah.
Okay, so we're here, and just a few weeks ago, I know it's a different show, but we spoke about you performing at the World Creole Music Festival. And I just wanted to, before we speak about your new song, before we end the show, I just want you to, I know it feels great, but I just want you, besides saying it feels great, to tell us what it's like to go from Ice Cream Man, or what it's like to go from the little boy in Pottersville and Goodwill to now standing on the World Creole Music Festival stage and basically doing Stars on Earth.
I mean, you know, for me, it's like, I really can't explain the feeling to you, to be honest, because I didn't go for the normal channel, you know, like excelling at booyah or, you know, I did a genre that they said I would fail at, you know, and all others before me failed, you know, and for me, it's like, yeah, a lot of the other reggae acts, dancehall acts before me failed. I'm one of the only.
Well, someone may argue Nasio Fountain.
I mean, anyways, moving along. All of the others before me basically failed, you know? And, you know, for me, it's a very important moment when, you know, I can be this successful doing a genre that everybody thought I wouldn't have been able to, do well in.
Okay. So you say you can't really say comprehend or speak out as to how you felt about doing Stars on Earth on stage, but even if you, I'm trying to make sure I use the right words with you, but even if you kind of say it was exciting or it was just the time of my life, and how would you basically explain the moment, the accomplishment? Because you saying that everybody else before you basically failed and you actually got that chance, I think that is a big deal.
I didn't really get a chance, you know, like I worked.
You've arrived at that opportunity, you've arrived at that place.
Yeah.
So even representing, going to Jamaica early in September, and singing,
big up Melisha for that, you know.
Singing, I mean, that is an accomplishment. It is an accomplishment. So starting from Goodwill and now you being able to stand on those stages, I mean, that's what I mean. So it's hard work, yes, but it's a humbling moment, I would think.
I mean, I'm not sure if I can express it using the words that you're using, you know.
Oh, sorry, it's not humbling.
Yeah. But I mean, definitely a great moment, you know what I mean? To be able to see my music move people, and, you know, like now that I've actually found myself, you know, like from being all over the place, doing all type of things, now that people can look up to me for a certain type of music, a certain type of strength in music, you know what I mean?
Okay.
Yeah, it's a great feeling.
I feel that. Okay, so you have a new song,
Find a Way.
Find a Way.
Yeah.
And
I just dig it there for the first time with Suzu, you know, and yeah, I like the vibe. It's not really a song that I to listen to, you know what I mean? Is I did it real quick, and me and my guy dropped it, and, you know, big up Kirk one time, you know.
Okay.
Big up Ashmal same way. But yeah, just dropped it and moved on to the next, because it's like, you know, I'm constantly recording songs and constantly busy with other things, so it's like I didn't really get to listen. But it's a good song.
That's why you were jamming when you heard it.
Man, yeah, man.
So it's your first time listening to it on the radio since you dropped it?
Since I dropped it, that's my first time listening to it on the radio, and trust me, it's a banger, it's a vibe. It's a vibe, it's a pretty song.
I saw Fado vibing out to it, so
yeah, man.
thank you. I'm a big DJ Fado. Yes, so okay, so what's next for ColtonT? I know you're gonna keep dropping and is moving on to the next, but what's the next?
Boy, we have a whole heap of stuff in the pipeline, and I never really like to talk about them before they actually happen. You know what I mean? But I might have an album on the way, God on Earth. We have another album that's already prepped and on the way. We have more singles that's on the way, and we're just doing music and just feeding the people. Now that I have like a good enough base, I used to be a lot slower on the releases, but now I can pick up the pace because I feel like I have more consumers to consume the good stuff. So I'm just gonna keep bringing out the good music, track after track, hit after hit, and just keeping my fans entertained and pleased. You know what I mean?
Do you do all your writing?
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't even write, it's just like, yeah, give me the beat and then we just vibe it.
Okay, so they're all original, like by you?
Yeah, I'm open, don't get me wrong, I'm also open to if somebody presents me something. I mean, it hasn't happened as yet, but I mean, if somebody presents me a song, I'm cool with that.
Okay,
so.
And find a way. I put he'll find a way as the caption, so that's why I say. But find a way. Was it inspired by anything like memories?
Yeah, boy. Yeah, I was. So find a way. It's like I was in this whole argument, with my buddy and venting as usual. I always calling him on his work hours and just vent about things that I'm displeased about, and I was actually venting about a girl. And from venting about there, that led to another topic, and then his phone cut off. And then when his phone cut off, it's like the last word to him was something about, it's like if it was me, I'd always find a way. And then the melody came. I linked Cook, but then I linked Geo. And then after I linked Geo, I went by. He's like, because Cook was taking too long, I guess he had work. I'm not sure. And then I'm like, I go and buy Geo, and we just like Geo play the guitar. He had some conga drums and whatever. I sing the melody. I made the song, send it over to Cook. Cook send us back something. I record, done.
Because I think it's a little different than the normal. It doesn't sound like.
Also, we're heading into the season, and it's like me loving melody so much and not being able to always just add like all of the melodies into the fast-paced booyah. I basically choosing to do like this Afro fusion, which is like a blend of the soca, a blend of the Afro beat, and so it's like even if like I don't do like a booyah for the carnival season, I have some up-tempo stuff that the people can vibe to. You feel me?
I definitely felt that. I was like,
so they can look out for some like another release this week. To the people that are listening.
Another release this week. I mean, that went over my head for a second. This week. So you released last week and now this week. Okay.
Yeah, I can release tonight if I choose to. It's like we have songs there, like they just begging for a moment to see the light of day. Because we have a lot of music.
Yes.
A lot of music. So this week, we have another thing for the fans coming, and we're just keeping it like that. I mean, unfortunately, we didn't get to do Bomb in the City this year due to the elections. So I had a bad experience doing my concert when election was called. My date was already announced, but PM released his date, and the place was in their little tug of war, and that big up the fans that showed up. I had a sold out VIP still, but I feel that the event was going to be real massive was it not for the election at that time. So this year again, the election came in, and so right now the team and myself just considering possibly maybe moving the date to maybe a time closer in the summer where we can do that vibe,
blow up the city.
Yeah, man.
Okay, well, that's what's next for you then. There are tons of things next on your thing, but final question, which I ask everyone that passed through Bio Out Loud Studios, how do you want to be remembered?
I think from the kind of music that I've been putting out, like I think like it expresses or says a lot as to how I would want to be remembered, or for what I would want to be remembered. And it's like the music that I do, I make sure that I pour my soul into it. I pour all of my passion and whatever I've experienced or I'm experiencing into it, and I feel like others will be able to relate to it. So even when I'm no longer here on earth, somebody, I will be one of those that they can go to and relate to, through stuff that I've said and things that I've experienced. So
all right, thank you.
Yeah.
So this has been another episode or edition of Bio Out Loud. I am your host, Julie Roberts, and I'm so grateful that we could have Mr. ColtonT in the building with us tonight. We're very much appreciative of your music, and we intend to have you around for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And we love the versatility, we love the genius. It's fantastic.
Thank you.
Thank you. Look at the smile, the shy smile came out. And Mr. Fado, before we leave, I hope you can play Find a Way again for us. And remember, to all of those listening, tomorrow in Portsmouth we have some gifts for a few young people. The Julie Roberts Foundation, the Joseph Foundation, in collaboration with Digicel, come on down for some great prices, some Christmas prices from Digicel right at the Borough Square. I don't want it to sound like an ad, but that's what we're doing tomorrow. So tomorrow evening at 5:30, just join us in the Borough Square in Portsmouth as we celebrate an early Christmas. Until next time, this is your girl Julie. Have a great one, and season's greetings to everybody. It's my season.
After every dark time I will be fine. I know I won't recline. Not in no rush, everything in time. I fully trust the designer, and him say victory is mine. I'll find a way, with or without help I'll see some better days. I'll find a way. Life is about finding way, yes. I'll find a way. Man,